Hey everybody, and welcome back to another lecture with Coding with Roby. In this lecture, we're going to be creating some book objects to go on our books list. I'm going to create a new function that's called create books. That's not asynchronous and not part of an API, but that is called when our get method is called if our list is less than 1. So let's go ahead and use this lecture to create these books. The first thing I'm going to do is scroll all the way to the bottom. And right under this create book, I'm going to create a new function called create books no API. So right under here, I'm going to create a new function. I'm going to add some interspaces so I have more room to type. And then right here, I'm going to say def create books no API with nothing as a parameter. And then right under here, I'm just going to create some books. So I'm going to say book 1 is equal to the book object or the book class. And inside here, I'm going to say ID equals, and we're going to need a UUID. So I'm going to hop into my browser, and I already have an online UUID generator tool, but just go to this URL and it's going to create an online UUID generator for us. And I'm just going to say copy that, go back to the code, and I'm just going to dump that in. And now I'm going to say title is equal to title 1. Author is equal to author 1. Description is equal to description 1. And I'm going to create a rating which is equal to 60. And now I'm just going to copy and paste and do this for all the other books, but I'm going to modify the UUID just a little bit so each ID is completely different with each book. In here, I'm going to speed up the video a little bit so we can create 4 books quickly, but feel free to slow the video down if you want to watch me copy and paste and create 4 books. And then we're just going to leave it at 4 books. And now I'm just going to say books.append book 1, book 2, book 3, and book 4. And now at the very top, I'm going to scroll all the way up till we get to our get, which is read all books. And right here, just for demonstration purposes, so we can do development a little bit quicker without creating books every single time, I'm going to create an if statement that if the length of books is less than 1, then to create the books, and then return the books regardless. So the first thing we're going to do is if length of books is less than 1, and if it is less than 1, then we're going to create the books no API. So if the books is at 0 elements, then we're going to create the 4 books at the bottom and then append it to books. If books is greater than or equal to 1 element, then we won't do the create books no API and we'll just return the books. So that means every time the server restarts during this development phase, that we will just keep our books. We'll always have 4 books while we're creating posts and puts and enhancements to the books. And therefore, we don't have to create a book every single time we do any kind of development, because the server is always going to be reloading with new data. If we save this and our application is running, let's go back to our browser. I'm going to close this UUID generator tool and refresh the Swagger UI. If we hop over to our read all books, we can see there's no parameters, and I'm going to say try it out and execute. So with that, voila, we have 4 elements of books returned within our books list. If we add one to our books list and we say create a new book, and we get a success, and we jump back over to our read all books and we execute it, we're going to now have 5 books inside. So we have our description 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then the new book that we just created with our post method. However, if we restart our server, then all of the books are going to disappear. So that's when we do this if length of books is less than 1 to create all the books no API, just so we can add elements to the books. You could also accomplish this by adding the book objects directly to the list, but I wanted to hide it at the bottom of the file so we don't keep seeing it. This wraps up this lecture on how to add books to the book list to help us with our development purposes, and I will see you in the next lecture.